is clear and cut racism in this regard. It's clear and cut racism what happened to
When
Ahmaud
has it
Arbery.
not been? When has it not been?
When has it not been?
That's the that's the issue. When
Okay.
has it not been? You're talking about Glenn County, Georgia, where we running around as black people, toodalooing all in Georgia. I mean, like, we think going to Georgia has meant it's like the second coming of Christ. Unfortunately, Fulton County and DeKalb County are black counties. They got black people in it.
Yeah.
But the state capital is in Fulton County, which is, guess who? Other 158 counties, or guess what? Glenn County, Georgia. Well, white people are determined. I lived there. I lived in Cobb County, probably the worst of the worst. When it comes to states' rights, and when it comes to gun owners' rights, when it comes to stand my ground,
Yes.
when it comes to citizens arrest, I've never heard of that.
Ahmaud Arbery. Ahmaud
Arbery.
Arbery. Is that how you
Yeah.
say his name?
I believe so.
Listen, the video was out. It was disgusting. Sean King was all over it. But now, because at this point, everybody's, two people have been arrested. They've taken into custody the two murderers of Ahmaud Arbery.
Explain the situation for those who haven't heard or been under a rock this week.
Listen, I was trying to catch up myself, but from what I understand, the gentleman was on a run. He was jogging. I guess, in a neighborhood that is close to his neighborhood. We understand that now. And he was identified by two individuals. One of the individuals thought he was a person who might have stolen a bike some weeks ago. They have come out and said that they were affecting a citizen's arrest of him, and a confrontation ensued. The individuals who were effecting the citizen's arrest were armed, and they were obviously armed. Ahmaud was not armed. He was just on a jog. And it ended with the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, which is horrible. It's horrific. But I think more of the outrage came when it's very clear to most people that these individuals should be charged and they should be seen in the justice system, but they were not arrested by the local police department. So
Right.
it took people to vocalize and gather together through social media, getting the individuals' pictures, their names, all of their information in videos before they were arrested. And I believe it happened, was it months later?
Yeah, it happened in February.
Yeah, centuries later, like a year later.
Yeah, so the incident happened in February, and they were indicted this past week.
It sends my blood boiling because, like, time and time again, especially in our lifetime, we have watched it in this social media era. We've watched these murders happen. We've watched them happen on video, and we've watched people not be brought to justice.
Right. I think that the crazy part is that, just like you said, like, it takes this long, and the only reason it took this long is because it was made so public, you know?
Yep.
There's something that if the time was passed and they can, because you have to think that the prosecutor had all this information.
All of it.
Since February.
Absolutely.
I mean, in no way, form, or fashion does Corona stop the indictment of anybody else.
Never.
So that's why I'm just like, it's curious to see, like, oh, now so many people are talking about it. There's so many movements. Okay, we have to go do this.
Yes.
You know?
Now, it's sad because we're watching so much violence and this state sponsored, like, you hope that the justice system will be impartial and would take up cases like this without this hoopla.
You need to worry about the jury, bro. The jury is the issue. Go ahead.
You're right. The jury is going to be the issue, but the first step is that the prosecutor has to be the one to prosecute. The prosecutor has to be the one, and
They deferred it. They deferred it to three people turned it down because of the relationship they already have with the guy who did it, who's the prosecutor himself.
Yes, or he was a cop.
Talking about this week in racism.
This week in racism. This week in racism. Like I mean, how do we wrap our heads around this situation other than like there's no impartiality. It's clear and cut racism in this regard. It's clear and cut racism what happened to Ahmaud Arbery.
When has it not been? When has it not been?
When has it not been?
That's the issue.
Okay.
When has it not been? You're talking about Glenn County, Georgia, where we running around as black people Tootaloo all in Georgia. I mean, like, we think going to Georgia has meant it's like the second coming of Christ. Unfortunately, Fulton County and DeKalb County are black counties. They got black people in it.
Yeah.
But the state capital is in Fulton County, which is, guess who? Other 158 counties, or guess what? Glenn County, Georgia. Well, white people are determined. I lived there. I lived in Cobb County. Probably the worst of the worst. When it comes to states' rights, and when it comes to gun owners' rights, when it comes to stand my ground.
Yes.
When it comes to citizens' arrest, I've never heard of that. Where it can actually, you have no hate crimes bill, but you have citizens' arrest.
Yeah.
I have no clue what you just said. Legislation-wise, I understand what you said, race. That's why my previous argument of abstaining the vote is the only way we make them say one thing. I can't win without you. So here's what I'm going to do. Shit. This weekend racism. Shit. Try this 500 years of racism. That racism existed. This is not a surprise. This is nothing to get up in arms about. I would suggest we say nothing and let the process play itself out. Because I, as a black man, I can only talk from my experience, have been solely disappointed. When I get mad at white people for their injustice, they deliberately turn me down. They do it right in my face.
Don't hold your breath. Don't hold
I'm trying to tell you, they have never been shy about their racism. We're shy about ours. That's the key. We're scared. If they thought there would be realistic retaliation, it's an election year. You may see something in this case.
But should we not be civil? I mean, should we not be civil? I mean, is that still not the right thing to do as a human being?
No.
Well, I'll put it like this based on me. I can't talk for a system I didn't set up.
Okay.
That I didn't originate. I'm big on origination. Like, where did it come from? The best thing I can say is that if you smack me in the face and I did nothing to you, you shouldn't be the one to tell me how to apologize or how to react to your blatant disrespect to my common sense. That's what the picket lines were. The picket lines are nothing but people who follow orders from the same people they're protesting against. I don't know how you eat that. I choose not to eat it. I let it go. I'm finished with it. And then try to get my vote after that? No. And then it happens again.
And again.
No. I'm finished with you, bro. Straight up, finished with you.
Lou, what were you about to say?
I'm going to vote common sense and common sense only, my best interest and my best interest only. And like I said, Donald Trump is just my best interest. I'm a commercial mortgage broker. That's it. That's my best interest.
All right. I understand what you're saying. My thing is that if the system is this way, it is in our best interest to overtake the system. That's
You
simply
don't
the
have
case.
the capacity to, and when you did, you didn't do it. President of the
But
United
this,
States, black attorney
but
general, black governor in New York. You never tried to overtake the system. You tried to run it the same way the system is in place, and you were scared and trepid. You were scared. It's like
but
begging for a haircut.
that
Begging
is
for
the
a
exact
haircut.
point that I'm making now. Let me just get a couple of these points out so that it makes sense before you tell me again that it wasn't done before by a previous regime in a different sector of the government. 1 second. So with the way, if you're saying that Georgia is this one specific way, then we should go to the black run counties or the black largely populated counties to assemble and to take over those councilmen and to continue up that chain until we can get all of one state or we can get all of a couple states. And that is essentially how it works. But essentially, that will get us but so far based on our numbers. This is the one reason why just being about race is already our defeat. This is the point of actually having to go to other minority groups so that we can assemble minority assemblies so that now we can make the majority out of minorities. So when I say like, oh, because the first thing is there's only 15% of the population is black. We don't have 15%. That's never going to be the case. So when we say that Barack got 100% of the votes, that is definitely not the case, no matter how black he was. There will always be women who had voted for Hillary just because she was a woman instead of just her not being black. This is just the way that it goes. So our thing is, yes, now you have to go to Hispanics. Hispanics have 15%. Okay, we have to get as much of that as possible. So now our 10% of our 15% can go with their 10%. So now we have 20%. Then we have to weaken what the other side is.
We've already tried.
Wait
We've
1
already
second,
tried.
please.
Hold on, Greg. Hold on.
1 second, please. Then if we're saying that the other side is the majority, and if we're going to say that, I'm not in the case of being like, oh, white people are the enemy or this, that, and the other. There's 60% of the population. If 30% of them are female, we already know that females are a minority group of within that set. Why are we not getting the females who support us? That is how you break down the majority and enforce your minority. Period. This is exactly what people need to do.
Period is your opinion, and period is my opinion.
Right.
But there's facts in the air, and then there's facts on the ground. Okay, so
Right.
FedEx Air and then FedEx Ground. Let's go FedEx Air. What you just said, that if we get the majority and if we pool together and we help them out. Why
Yes, every
can't we
minority
do the
group has
facts
a
on the
reason.
ground? Facts on the ground, bro. Facts on the ground is, when are they going to help us out with our most significant issue, which is this week in racism? We shouldn't even have a topic called this week in racism.
But we do.
It can't exist. It can't exist. It exists. Why? Because our vote has not been channeled in any direction other than to get a damn job. And we're solid once we get it. Silent, once we get it. Especially if we work for the city. You know those old city bootlicking, even though it happened, I work for the... Man, listen. Who you fooling, bro? Facts on the ground. Stay away from the voting booth and come to me when you're ready to solve my problem. I can still keep my job too. You're not gonna fire me because I didn't vote. But if voting is the only answer, then guess what? Maybe I can. You talking about some solution? You keep asking. Y'all keep asking. Stay away from the voting booth. See if a governor can get elected to a state without the black vote, a Democratic governor. See if a United States senator can get elected. That 15% gets cut off. That's the margin. That's what it is. That's what it is. There's no Democratic senator that he got to get his hands dirty. Got to come on in there now. He got to really get in there. Get if he want our vote, because he can't win without it. That's how you use the 15%. Not joining with them. We've already joined with them, giving them plenty of opportunities. They failed us. Remember, is the topic of this show This Week in Racism?
This is the segment. This Week in Racism.
I just want to ask one question.
That's it. Then that's it.
Can I just ask you one question?
Yes, you can.
Okay. That entire time that you just told me all about this, right? And the whole time that I spoke, and I talked about voting, at what point did I say vote Democrat?
I didn't say you did.
This is the exact point that I'm making.
I said our vote. I said our vote. I said our vote.
So this is
the point. I'm sorry if I categorized you. I'm sorry if I categorized you, but the FedEx air and FedEx ground. The ground is more than likely black people vote Democratic. Is that a fair assumption? I'm sorry if I made the wrong assumption.
No, but the point being was my entire point was us assembling to vote. We don't have to vote one.
Yeah.
You just now said that you were talking about abstaining from voting. I just said to get together to this is how we can get the vote.
Get what vote? I don't understand.
Any vote that we want. But we can't do it with just 15%. It doesn't matter how much it's like us black. We need to get all minorities.
But it can play a role in congressional races. It can play a role in gubernatorial races. It can play a role in the United States Senate, which ultimately controls judicial nominations, etc. That's what I said in rebuttal. And it wasn't really a rebuttal. It was, how do we maximize the voting potential that we have? That's all I said.
All right, so how is what you said any different from what I said?
I don't disagree with you.
That's why I just said, how is what you said any different from what I just said?
Y'all both saying the same thing.
Because you need to take a stand. Which way are you going? Are you willing to say that we're not voting until whoever gives us what we want? I think that's the difference, because I don't think you said that.
I think y'all doing the chicken and the egg thing. Like, I think the chicken and the egg thing is, it seems like it's we abstain until they realize. I think this is what Greg is saying. We abstain until they realize how important the black vote is and accept what it is that the black community is needing. And if they don't agree to that, they're not going to get our vote. If they do agree to that, we will come and we will vote. Is that what you're saying, Greg?
That's exactly what the hell I'm saying. That's the only goddamn way that's happening. And we're voting and still complaining about the same goddamn thing.
And I think Lewis is just saying the second part to your answer. He's just not talking about the abstaining. He's talking about the rallying of the vote and saying that, hey, we have a coalition. We have all these people, and we're saying that this is what we need, and this is what you need to do to get our vote. That's all that he's saying. But you're just putting the abstain part in front of it. And
no, because that's the part that puts the fear in the eye. It's like, I got a gun and it's in my pants or it's in your face.
Okay.
Big difference, bro.
Yeah, I don't like guns.
The gentleman on the show is saying he's a nice guy. He's got to be politically correct from the position he sits in. I don't.
Do you know why there's a rock the vote thing for the last 25 years?
Yeah, and it hasn't worked. Show me how it works.
No, but I'm asking you, do you know why there is one?
I can care less.
Enough people abstain to vote.
I'm really not interested. If we're talking about this week in racism, if we were talking about this century in
which
racism,
we got to get back to. Somehow we pop back to the vote. But okay, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this part up, because I actually understand what both of you are saying. And I believe that both of them are possible, but I do understand that the whole rock the vote, which is important, Greg, because the amount of people that vote currently, what is it, 120 million people vote currently, and another 100 million people who could vote who don't vote.
300 million in a presidential election.
There we go. So if 100 million people are already abstaining for whatever reason, whatever their reason is, it is possible for us on any side to energize those 100 million people, even if it's, and I think all three of us probably agree on all of the issues. We just may not agree on who's going to bring the solution, but all three of us agree on those issues. So if those 100 million people or 50 million of those people agree on these same issues, we can bring them and say, hey, let's vote together like this so that we can all get what we're interested in happening in this United States of America. But we got to get back to Ahmaud Arbery because it's very important. I don't want to leave this topic off and not speak to this situation that is constantly happening. Like I we have you spoke about Sean Bell earlier. You spoke about Amadou Diallo and
30 years ago.
30 years ago, Rodney King, riots, all of these different things. But the thing that I want to get down to, the thing, and it's something that always
Blue states too. They were blue states.
Blue states,
right.
Absolutely. The thing that always pops up in the comments: are we being too civil? Are we being too civil to solve this issue? Is it going to happen through the justice system, through voting, or is it going to happen and end in violence?
In my opinion, are you asking me?
The opinions, yes. This is an opinion show.
Well, there's FedEx Air and there's FedEx Ground. The air is, I don't know. The ground is through the voting booth. Okay. Because the only possible way, which is why I keep bringing it up, I'm not just yelling. I'm not just talking. I am concerned. I'm not getting paid to get on this show. I mean, you're somebody I know.
Yeah.
In-depthly. And I care about you.
Yeah.
As much as I care about myself. But at the end of the day, the voting booth works. And it works a lot of ways. And the only way it can work to where I don't have a complaint as a voter is if I didn't vote. And I didn't vote and I had a reason not to vote. And that's the reason this guy in Georgia is a reason not to vote. Because people wouldn't take those kind of liberties unless they believe they had the right to do it. And if you believe you have the right to do it, and you are just like me, a human being, living in the same place, in the same country, I have a severe problem with that. So, what do? Do I pick up a gun and go at you? You said this is a civil question.
Mm-hmm.
No. But I have a vote. I do. And I'm going to demand I vote for what I'm supposed to get. And by people believing that they can do that consistently, it's not no isolated incident. Since you believe that, I don't believe my vote matters. I have reason to believe my vote. Best I got with that one.
Lewis?
It's your turn.
Again, like I said, I don't think that violence is the key here. Like I said, they went going the public the last week and a half and having them indicted, hoping that the trial doesn't take long before the public interest loses out. So obviously this is the point of everyone running this marathon on his birthday. Will the charges go through? Will they last through trial?
We don't know.
We don't know. But the point being is that just like he said, if the people who are in office in this town and councilmen, like this is the point in which you're trying to see who's doing what for your interests.
Yeah.
And these are the ones who you will end up supporting because you want to know that they're looking for the same justice.
Yeah. I agree. And I think it's very important, just in general, that it highlights the important thing is for us to not just pay attention to the national politics. As far as like the president, but we should be paying attention to local politics, because this is when it comes into play. Your DA comes into play, your district attorney, um, all of those people who are involved locally that really do affect your life. Whether they charge your cousin, your brother, for having a small amount of marijuana, is in the hands of the district attorney and these particular individuals. And it's important that we pay attention to these who's elected and who's elected around us. But rest in peace, Ahmaud Arbery, and much love to his family. They're going through a difficult time, and we just send our prayers their way for their grieving time. And it's sad because, like, the nation and our people are grieving with them, because it's easy to see yourself in an individual like Ahmaud Arbery. Like those individuals weren't cop. One was a retired cop, but I've been stopped by the police by jogging in Dorchester, literally jogging in the daytime in Dorchester. I was told that I fit a description. I know it was a lie because I know it was a vehicle that passed me when I was jogging, so I know it was profiling. But my situation ended with me showing my ID and moving on. His situation ended with his life. But neither of us should have been approached. And those are the things that we need to change. And it's step by step. And there are different tactics. And we got to try some different stuff. And that's the truth. And that's why we have people like Greg come on and talk about some of these things that we possibly need to try as a community, whether it's the black community or people who are like-minded thinkers.
It's the American community.
It's the American community. If we have to try these tactics,
it's flawed.
It's flawed. It's true. It's true. Greg, yo, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Greg.
Yo, we ran an hour and 48 minutes. This was a lot. But this is a great episode. I think we got a lot of great information, and this was great.
Next week we'll do it again, right?
Sounds good. Listen, I'm No Justin, No Peace.
And I'm Lou Rivers.
And we had a special guest,
Greg Brown.
That's right. And we are the Loose Cannons podcast, because we sit down and we fire off our opinion on today's pop culture.
What else?
Politics.
What else?
Movie and TV and how they all intersect. We had a great episode. Don't forget, later this week, guys, we have our movie review that's coming out on Wednesday. Thanks again, Greg. This was the Loose Cannons. We're out.
Peace.